Hotep, peace and blessings be upon all the YouTube people who are watching this. This is not an attack on Brother Mfundishi. Excuse me for saying the name incorrectly. Mfundishi. This is not attack on the collective consciousness or quote unquote the black conscious community. But it is. It is in the sense that, people want to deny a spiritual force, a force that is unseen, that works beyond the scene that we see now. We are so stuck on the physical plane. And by us being stuck on this physical plane, we still not understanding and understanding and overstanding how that these people have took control. Now, Mfundishi, he talks about the meta-netter. Is it facts or fiction? Well, put it like this. This is not him that says it's facts or fiction. Basically, we're trying to time warp back into past to utilize a lost language to quote unquote resurrect our so-called greatness. This is what this is about. And the only way you can do that is that you have to study it. And then the only way you can study that is you have to actually go to the continent itself. I will tell most people, do not study any language here. I will tell you, go to the continent. And even if you ain't studying the language and you're trying to, at least you see the culture and the feeling, and that moves you. I don't care what people say. Once you go back to the land that you are trying to investigate, it speaks volumes because it's nonverbal form of communication, which is the highest form of communication. Not the reading, not the writing, but the nonverbal form of communication is the highest form of communication. Now, when he's going to say something, and I just want y'all to listen to what one of our influenced persons have to say. And trust me, he knows his stuff. But, Lucifer also knows his stuff too. And it was his intelligence that made them not understand the Creator. So let's go with it.
America, Caribbeans, North America, with the Africans on the continent. Because they have the... Don't say it's not going to happen, brother, because you speak into existence what can. Yeah. It will happen. It will happen. And it's happening now. Because I'm involved with some people who got African villages on the African continent from America. They're going back, they're farming, they're connecting. And remember I said manufacturing. We're going back and begin to teach Africans how to manufacture their own good. So when that marriage happened on a bigger scale, right now it's a small scale. When it happens on a big scale, we can liberate ourselves because the natural resources for the whole world is on the African continent.
So right then and there, you heard several different things. Someone says that's not going to happen as far as coming together. Is that a now? Is that a fact or is that a fiction? Now, I could be honest. We're talking about spiritualness, not religion. Let's get this right. The brother says that's not going to happen. And he says you speak certain things into existence. Okay, now, as an individual, you can do that. But as a collective consciousness, as groups of people, you cannot do that. And I'm going to give you a fine example why you can't do that. Because in order to do something like that, You have to have a focal point where everybody is connected to that nucleus, that focal point, that munad. Okay? And most people are not focused to that focal point. And this is due to our spiritual confusion that we have through the diaspora of religion. Now, religion and spirituality, to me, is totally different. A religion is the opium of the world, but spirituality is the liberation of the world. Spirituality is something that increases your free will. Religion is something that imprisonates your free will. Religion is the thing that got us to where we are right now, imprisonated. Mentally, physically, and spiritually. Well, not to the degree so much as spiritual, but we are spiritually confused. Now, order for you to protect something as far as what they're talking about, you have to have a might as powerful as the might that wants to create the new world order. Now, like I say, if you have no focal point, you cannot bring that up. Now, the Metanetic community tries to deny a creator in his fullness and glory. This is a problem. This is a problem as the so-called black community around the world. Put it like that. Because we don't have this focal point, we are not putting it together. That's the problem. And I could tell anybody it's not about spooksism. And how is it that all spirituality come out of Africa, but a lot of the people that's outside Africa are starting to not have spirituality, start not to believe in the Most High or believe in Nami Yi Ohimi, which was called God is King, or Allah, or Yahweh, or Ra, or all these beautiful names. And we have to understand something about people who are in the Metanetter. They have pantheons of gods and goddesses and ancestors and spirits and this and that. The Creator is not about none of that. You know, and this is why if you read successions of other spiritualities coming into existence, it's to clear and confirm that which was already. So, of course, you could say, well, all of these come from the Nile Valley, from the Hepa Valley. Of course, you could say that because it comes to confirm that. But what was before that? See, we got to understand something. We wasn't always here. We came to this planet. I don't know how I could say this to you. It's like the movie Avatar. This planet was basically conditioned for us to live in. You know, we are spiritual energy beings inside of this shell that we call carbon based. It's a lockdown. It's an imprisonment itself, but channeling into the right energies, you can always do remote viewing, out of body experience, astral projections, or walking or walking outside of your body. It can happen. But to understand that, of course, you have to rehire, you have to train yourself, you have to practice, and you have to basically go around the world and learn it in different dynamics of the world. See, what people try to break down, and they themselves is in the European base, and I explain this But it's not even European based, because I ain't going to keep on with this European versus blacks and whites versus blacks and stuff like that. Later for all of that, because at the end of the day, we all on this planet. Now, if they don't like us, and they got everybody else disliking us, and we disliking our own self, we need to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves, because we headed for self-destruction. And that's why that brother said it can't happen. And he got, yes, it can happen. And if you don't blah, 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 believe it, it will not happen. And this is the whole thing. This is why God is King movement is so important to the diaspora of waking the people up around the world. This is the importance of it. Because by listening to this brother, and he is a teacher, a scholar, a priest, in all due respect, when they attack a young pharaoh, and I know they laugh at the name, people have to stop something. Okay, if you call the name something else, and I call it something else, and I laugh at you because perhaps you're not calling it what is known as the Metaneta or Pharaoh. There was no such thing. That's come from the Greeks. Okay, if the Greeks call it Pharaoh, they call it Pharaoh because that's how their tongue, their language, their vibrations, and all of that work. Okay, so to correct them is okay. It's like saying Jesus is not the real name of the Messiah. We understand that, understand that. And the problem is that all religions had put it that way. Why? Because of power and control. So I'm trying not to get so much into this thing because I could tell you like this, me being an ex-military and one of the most whoop butt divisions and units and global team, I could tell you like this, if you're trying to step up into the plate as trying to match what is there, you think that these people is going to give it up freely, right? You have no creator behind you. You have what you consider your culture. All right, they have a saying: you can't live with just bread alone. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the culture. You can't live with just that culture, that bread alone. You got to have other things to live and to survive. You understand what I'm saying? So this brother is our teacher, and of course a priest who I respect, and I've bought 2 of his books. I just recently bought a new book. Rather this brother or any of them will ever buy something from me does not matter. It should matter, but it doesn't matter because, see, I look at it this way. The Jews that we know are Jews today, right? You see, they have different sects, but they all will claim themselves to the focal of Israel, to the focal of the Torah, to the Talmud, to the Mishnah. They will have all these things. And here we are debating about what things has made us as great people, as black people around the world. The people that we considered Muhammad and all of them to be, they were black. They were probably red bone like me, but they were black. And they were of the people who all came out this island, all the way over to where we live now in North America. Black people. We had the drums, we had many similar cultures, many similar language. Some of us got away, but it all had some similarities, and there All was this one creator who created all of the creations and all the goddess and goddess and things like that. And we have lost that. It is time to come back to that. That's why God is King movement is so strong. It's to bring the focal point back. And once you bring the focal point back, everything else can fall in place. Everything else can fall in place. Because then there will be things to teach you higher ways to protect yourselves. But you cannot build something in this world and figure it's okay, we could build manufacturers and we can make our own cocoa. You need to stop that. Somebody need to tell you about what happened with Gandhi and their movement and what happened in India and how India got broken into 3 different countries that we know of now. Maybe 4, but 3 different. It got broken down from India and Pakistan and Sikh, right? It's just broken down. And who broke it? Who broke it? They all split the pie. And we know that Africa was divided by the Balfour Convention that they have, that they separated Africa. Now, here's the funny thing about that. Now, Africa, quote unquote, supposed to be the most ancient of all, the most knowledge and wisdom of all. They allowed this to happen. Why? Because they are powerless. Because they do not have a focal point. They're like sheeps all over the damn place. I know how a shepherd is going to protect sheeps that's all over the damn place. You can't. You got to get a lot of sheeps. Now it's better when you centralize and you can go around and protect the whole exterior. But if all the sheep is way out in the wilderness, over the rocks, over this, over that, you can't protect them. So here we are talking about rebuilding Africa, and Lord forbid, how you going to build a government within a government? I know people go, oh, well, we got the Moorish this and that and blah, blah, blah. That's when young Pharaoh takes over and talk about a more global spiritual movement. And that's what God is King movement is about. It's not this one thing. Sometimes you have to understand, you got to learn how to let go of the past to move forward in the present and the future. You take a look back, you turn into the pillar of salt. Why? Because you're trying to reflect what your ancestors is telling you to move forward. What we did, we made our mistakes, and y'all can't make the same mistakes. Y'all must move forward. Take this language of what you have. Like, people try to really laugh at the English language and stuff like that. And I know the Europeans are learning different language and stuff like that. You see them all the time on YouTube, right? Here's the most funniest thing. When they went to the land, they already knew the language in some cases. So that means they've been spying on the land for a long, long, long time, right? They have a different agenda, their leadership. Their agenda is to conquer the world and bring in a one world government. Now, you're saying we're not consenting to a new world order, a one world government, a one spirituality, a one religion, and etc. We're not consenting to that. We're going to create our own offshoot. Well, just like the man says, they have something called a bomb. And they got many of dirty bombs. And the only way that you can protect this, and I believe this wholeheartedly and truthfully, is when you have a focal point. And that focal point is Nemi Ye Ohimi, God is King, Allah, whatever, and y'all work as a spiritual group. Because anybody that study Islam know that it's a way of life, and number one, knows it's not a religion like it is today. this is the incorrect Islam. And I'm here to say that it's incorrect. The reason why is because I have learned about the Dogon tribe only through the Quran by reading Al-Najm, the star. And it was the star, and I read it, and I said to myself, and this is English because I don't understand Arabic like that. And I learned Islam in the Persian Gulf. But I could tell you this. When I saw that it says, even I am the Lord of the mighty star, I said, wait a minute, how can you be a Lord of something if something doesn't live there? You see what I'm saying? That's English, which given me a concept of, wait a minute, how can you be a Lord of something? The only thing you could be a Lord of something in the English language unless you rule over something that is there, an entity, something that's living is there. So that made me ponder and wonder about the greatness of African tribalism. So I went and I started studying the different tribes, and I bumped into a beautiful tribe, and I thank them very much, called the Dogons, who actually, when I was going through my divorce, it saved my life from imprisonment. And I have a Dogon tattoo on my arm to give reverence to that science that was given in the Dogon that came from the Quran. And the Dogons talk about this star, and they talk about the orbits long before General Kepler did. So I'm not denying the fact of that. The problem is that, like he said, manufacture. See, we were people who just lived the life. So, in order to become as either equal or either equal to the force that is there now, I mean, we already know what it's about. If you can't beat me, you better damn join me. Because I don't know what you're doing. Like they said, Gaddafi, he got murked because he wanted to create a central bank for Africa, and he wanted to break up the parts that they carved Africa into, like things that's called Ghana now and things like this. It's not their name, Nigeria and all of that. But if you talk to an African, they would say, I'm Ghana, I'm Nigerian. That wasn't their names. So what was their names? See, nobody really wanted to challenge that because you're just not that damn powerful. Now, the only way you could start to become powerful is when you start realizing the Creator. And the Creator would tell you, fear no one, but fear me. The one, there is no second to none. You could go into Hindu and you could understand that. And I don't understand why people who read Metanetta cannot understand this Creator that is super supreme of all things. And we still pitching in out to different types of gods and goddesses and ask the ancestors and all of this. No. The ancestors live within us because when we're living, we still have DNA strands from all of the other people who lived before us. So, once again, we're going to listen to some more of what he's got to say.
Well, that's why they killed Gaddafi, is because Gaddafi was getting ready to set up our own banking system. But we have the resources to do that. We just need some backbone. Some of the African leaders, almost all African leaders today were educated in Europe or America.
Now, he just mentioned that, like I said, Gaddafi was killed, right? And he talked about backbone. What backbone is he really talking about? See, this is, this is the thing that comes. You can't be a predator, right, with words, okay? And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong with that. and I mean that lightly, but you got to be right with it. You can't beat your predator with just words, meaning that your words have to become manifestation in the physical form, right? Gaddafi wanted to, but they killed Gaddafi. And he said, we need backbones, and most of our African people been studied by the Europeans. Now it seems reverse. Okay, so this is the parallel universe. This is the yin and the yang principle. At first, the Europeans learned from us. Now we learn from the Europeans. Now that we got all of that straight, now who should we learn from? The Most High, the Supreme Lord and Creator. That's who we need to bow down to. But see, when we fill with so much ego, talking about cultures and ethnicities and all of this, we get far out from where we supposed to do. This is why we are broken, because we are not reuniting ourselves with the absolute supreme Lord, which is what we supposed to do. Now, let's continue with this brother.
So they got the same mindset we're trying to defeat. In Ghana, they said from now on you can't do libation for any national ceremonies. That's ridiculous, because we're trying to imitate Europeans. Once we begin to understand our culture and the power behind it, then we can begin to resurrect ourselves. So I just need to say, Africa is going through as many changes as Africans in America are going through.
Now, he mentioned something about libations. Okay, I told this in one of my other YouTubes, and I talk about this, and I said, the Creator doesn't need rituals to please the Creator. This is what we don't understand. So all these libations and all of this stuff, the Creator don't need that. See, that's come from us. See, that's a part of history that comes from us. And people go, well, if you read the texts, it says this and that. No. We're incorrect with that. If a teacher tells you, right, you have to learn these things. You have to learn how to say ba, se, de, e, f, je, he, or whatever, right? Aleph, ba, ta, ja, ha, ka, sa, so, dord, whatever which way you ever want to go, right? Imi, ami, om, whichever way you want to go, you have to learn this way. Then we come in with something and we create more than what is said. And then that's where you get the libations, you get the sacrifices, you get these rituals and everything like that. And you're like, oh, we can't live without this if we don't have this, and we got to do this because if you don't do this, then you won't learn, and blah, blah, blah. Well, this is why we are where we are. Our ancestors made a left turn instead of making a right turn. And that's just as plain and simple. It's okay. See, I understand you should look in the past to see what the hell happened to create your presence. You got to look at, now when you look in the past, you say, wait a minute, our ancestors were great people. They built stuff that people can't even build. They was on some real high level stuff, and they got their ass whooped by some cave dwelling people. That's where we are fooled, They actually know a lot about us, a whole lot about us. And we don't want to admit that. We want to hide behind that. And that's what Manetta and Kemet people do. They hide in the lie. They hide in the lie. It's a damn lie. I'm not saying Metanetta is a fiction. I'm saying the whole concept of what y'all doing, y'all hiding behind a damn lie. It's like I tell Christians, okay, first of all, the Messiah didn't create another belief. But out of this revolution, come this belief we call Christianity. But that's a falsehood itself. Now, that's a falsehood itself, because the Messiah did not came to change anything, but came to refine it and put it in its proper context. But these people didn't want that. The high priests, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, all these people, they be like different priests and preachers of different tribes and everything around the world. I'm going to keep it real and funky with y'all just like that. Because these are the people who have hold back some secrets, right? Who have kept us in the darkness. And then when something more powerful came, they might have been more prepared, and they might have got out of the fire zone, but we were slaughtered. You understand what I'm saying? Why? Because these people tried to hide stuff. Oh, well, in order to do this, you got to get in these ritual, you got to get in this initiation. Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. Okay, well, there are rituals done, and it's not even rituals, it's a way of life. Libations, like circumcisions and different things like that. It's a reason for different stuff like that. So I mean, when we hear this, all we hearing is that this person, and I love him, he's not thinking of, have you heard anything of him saying we have to protect what we create? That means we have to have war machines to protect what we create, and it's got to be more advanced than what they have right now. Now think about that. Think about that. We can't just, they're not just going to let us live our life. We did that already. Our ancestors did that. So here we are in the world that we are, in the places that we are, to understand and study what they're doing. When you're in the belly of the beast, do you not know the beast more than anybody else? You are saturated with the beast mentality. And we just don't want to admit that. We don't want to admit that. Continue.
Right, because they're after our resources. And the Africans don't understand. They're actually selling land to Chinese. They're giving resources.
See, hero?
But we have to learn operational unity. We have to learn
Operation Unity.
That means African people coming together to save ourselves. Dr. Clark said, we have no friends in the world. We have to be our own best friend and squabbling among ourselves. That's how we do it. Operational unity. Me and you don't have to agree on all 10 scales. We might have a program and we only agree on 5, right? So let's work together on the 5.
It's good, but the whole big thing is coming in so fast. Bitcoin, chain coin, okay, a whole new banking system is coming in. The currency is coming off the market. We're only going to be trading with cards.
If we allow them, right.
See, right then and there, that's ego. If we allow them, that's ego. That's ego right there. I'm sorry to say, everybody. Fair is fair. If you got your ass whooped, say you got your ass whooped. Fair is fair. We have to be fair out here. The only way you can get out of this imprisonment unless you realize you're a prisoner. You understand what I'm saying? You can't hide in some things and say, well, I have my sovereignty. First of all, how did you get it? Who did you go to? You have to go to the very same people who are oppressing you. And then they say to you, okay, we give you sovereignty. You don't pay taxes. Like people thinking, oh, well, I beat the beast. And he's just laughing at you. Because the more you unpeel this system, the deeper you go into the system. Leave the damn shit alone. As he said, leave it alone. Stop trying to peel the system. Because we already saturated by the system. So we don't have to peel it no more. We know. It's the fact of we don't want to succumb to it. But when you look at blacks kill blacks right now. So we have what the white man has. He has no friends to no one. So what are we saying? And we'll kill each other. No doubt about it. Get mad enough, we'll kill each other. That's like the KK. They are very happy now. Aryan nations, all these people, Jews who doesn't like no going, GOLIM. They hate us all. So they are very happy about how things are being played. Like I told somebody, I think I see the magic plan. You're knocking out Syria, and which Syria had a big army. You take over Lebanon, Libya, Sudan, Somalia, these places that have people or spiritual fighters or warriors, and you just make it a comfortable situation for you for your next Willie Lynch, international Willie Lynch program. Now, you cannot protect something. You cannot protect something with just your culture. This is what they don't understand, see? This is why I said you got to go beyond the physical. This is why they don't like Pharaoh. They don't like him because a lot of people don't understand him because he takes texts from different parts of the world and apply them in an effective way. And some people call me, oh, he's trying to be like Dr. York and stuff. I understand him super duper clearly. And when he said that he did an astral projection, I already know because I already said that in one of my videos. Out of body experience, remote viewing, astral projecting. We can do that. And telekinesis, telepathic, and all of that stuff. Where do you think they get this science from? But this brother here don't want to go to the highest levels. You see, behind him, he have all these different crystals. Now, I was reading the natives. You could take the crystals and you put them in a spear, like in a leather spear ball, and you twirl it and it becomes light. Now, where's that science from? That's what we need to know. You understand what I'm saying? How do we make clothes out of nothing, in a sense? You understand what I'm saying? These are the things that we need to know. And that's manufacturing. But see, you got to start from the ground root up, from the chakra up to the crown, and then ascend beyond, But you can't beat these people by thinking, oh, they're going to allow you just... See, this is what the answer... Oh, no, Meanwhile, the creator's telling you, have your post, watch out, look out, boom, boom, boom. We ain't pay attention because we thinking we gods and goddess. We don't need them. We got all these rituals that the creator is like, what are y'all doing? And the fact the creator just let us do it because the creator allow us to have free will. And we just doing what we doing. But this is dumb. This is really, really dumb. And I'm sorry to say it. There is no African country that could beat any European country. Combat to combat. None. Period. None. So that right there makes you a weakling. I'm sorry. If it's a Charles Darwin, survival of the strongest, the fittest, when you look at the black conscious community, and when you see my brother Ahmad, when you see Shaka speaks, you notice how he have a certain command, a certain presence, a certain fear that people have with him. I know he probably is a badass with us, but white people don't have that fear with that man. That's only us, and things like that. And this is why he also realizes, And I catch him too. Before he had that, that more macho type of thing. He's still macho, and he got the right to be that, because he still have to uphold certain things, or people try to run over him because, he has that one forelock, So he has that one forelock. And Muslims have a thing about that, the forelock, but they're not talking about the Kemetic people. They're talking about these Yahweh people, these people we call Jews today. So we know that. So we're not talking about the Kemetic forelock. We're talking about them, and they try to imitate the they tried to imitate the Kemetic people with their locks, and it can't be done because that's all really about spirituality. So, before we go in, we're gonna hear a little bit more of this this thing here.
The New World Order. The New World Order is in. TTT. Go YouTube, look up TTT.
I'm familiar with it, brother.
See, he's talking about the New World Order.
Let me just say this. They're trying to circumnavigate the wealth we have in Africa. They got paper money. That money isn't real. It's only real because you agree to use it. Okay.
Okay, now here's the thing that he said. He said they got paper money. It's not real. It's only real if you agree to it. Facts. The paper money is not real. But you can't tell me that he himself does not take this paper money that is not real. He takes it all day damn long. Okay? So that right there, that's caught up right there. See, this is why I tell anybody, I don't care how much I would know. And I learned this from being in Saudi Arabia from the persons who taught me al-Islam, which is al-Din, which is a way of life. I don't care how much I know, I will always be an infant into the knowledge. Even a one who comes to me and I know that I might have more of an understanding of him and he's trying to, win a point, you just humble yourself. And you sit back and say, express your point. That's interesting, but have you add this to the equation? And that's it. That's how you smooth the ego, by giving the person the awareness. Now, if you're familiar with that, that doesn't mean that you're aware of it to its fullest degree. Because, like I said, I knew somebody was going to come in with the New World Order. And it's already written. They have these 4 pillars about what they're going to do to people who consider that. One of the first one is to destroy all monarchy governments and patriotism. That's one of the first rules. So if you're trying to create a monarchy government, a government outside of the New World Order government, and patriotism outside the New World Order patriotism, that means you're not consenting to the New World Order, therefore you must be eradicated. And if you can't defend yourself, oh well, it just a more easier slaughter. Send in the drones, and they won't even have to fight. Send in the drones. How you gonna whoop a machine? We got these crystals back here, and what we need to do is sit down and wonder the real power of them. We talk about the power of them and the human, but what about the power of them outside of the human? You see, what can they really do? Can this crystal help me create a force field shield to protect myself? Can I take a battery and plug it up to this crystal and it shoots a beam of light out of the crystal, because crystals have lights, or these different types of rocks that he have, these minerals. What is the power they have? You understand what I'm saying? That's what we need to know. That's where we need to go. So until we can protect ourselves, you know how, see, this is the whole thing. Like when you go up to certain people's blocks or sects or things like that, like even if you're in jail, they have these, what they call them, like they're lawmans of their little sect, you know, and you see them in jail, you can see mugs like holding posts, like in the military. They holding posts, and you like, look at this guy. Oh, that's the leader there. You know what I'm saying? Holding posts, because you see the soldiers. They're not soldiers. They actually warriors. You know, holding the post down. So, like I said, I knew somebody was gonna come with the new world order. Let's continue.
90% of the world's gold is still in Africa. Do you hear me? The majority of the gold in the world is in Africa. You can't fly a plane without the uranium and cobalt from Zaire. Okay, so I'm just trying to say, operational unity. Africans here have to not think like you. We have to think that we can organize with Africa. Okay. We have to believe that we can control our destiny.
I'm 68 years old, bro.
We're the same age. We're the same age. I'm 68 also.
Okay, don't bite on my foot.
Okay.
Don't bite on my foot. Okay, and a scar on my back from running from the prison, from the police, sitting in the Woolworths. Okay, so I've been on this for a long time. Nothing new.
We're on the same schedule. Okay, but let me just say that. That's the European paradigm. We need to change the paradigm. Let me say this, brother. They built the pyramids with no money.
I think one of the ways is
They built temples that's still standing with no money.
one way would be just
Did you?
Here's the whole thing. Okay. That's going nowhere because it's a culture consciousness. It's a culture ego. It's not even the individual ego. Mfundishi is not on the individual ego. No. He's on a culture ego.